All right, guys, so please pay attention because I want to cover, so pay attention, stop talking and look at me. Okay, I'm recording this so that you guys have something to refer to. But I had you guys pin up today for your assignment. And as I walk around, I notice that there's several things where there needs to be clarification on my part of what my expectations were. So I want to cover that stuff right now, okay? One of the things that I pretty much saw on almost everybody's, not everybody's, UG seems like it fills the whole site, is that you guys didn't seem to understand that the entire property is going to be covered in vineyards, not a portion of it. And the interpretation by students went from, you know, they ran the gamut of 4 little postage stamp vineyards up here in the front that one student or a couple students did, to somebody that, you know, did kind of the lower half of the property and left the upper half alone. So the entire property, edge to edge, needs to be filled with vineyard. Okay? So that's one of the key things that you guys need to go back and fix in your planning for this winery. All right? The next thing is that, and related to that, is that the vineyards need roads along the edges of them. And they particularly need roads, right, at the ends of the vineyard rows, at the end of the vine rows. Okay? Between, if say you've got vine rows that are all going the same direction, but there's two different things, you can put a road to divide those up, and that's probably good because it allows people to get around the site better. But the key spot is at the ends of the rows, and the roads that we mentioned there needed to be 15 feet wide. Okay, so that's a second thing is that you need roads all the way around your vineyards, which many of you did do. Okay, so another thing that I just noticed as I walked around is that the topography needs to be adjusted for the roads. Okay, many of you just ran the roads, like I'm looking at UG's right now, and there's no adjustment of the topography for where it crosses the road. Other people did draw the topography, but one of the things that I mentioned to you is that the topography should, in a perfect world, cross the road perpendicular to the length of the road. Many people have it going at an angle. What happens when you put your road at an angle is that your car's leaning sideways. Okay? One of the things that you need to consider as you do the topography modifications for the road are whether you are going to do an all cut. Okay, so all cut means that the lines run up the road, cross the road, come back down the road, and then keep going. Or all fill, that would mean that that it comes to the road, goes downhill from the road, cuts across the road, goes back to where it started and goes across. Or a combination of the two. I showed you that the other day, I believe. Let me see if I can switch off to here. So in some of these particular cases, there's a combination of cut and fill. All right, so like if you look right in this one, there's a little bit of cut right there where it's cutting into the slope, and then the rest of this is fill. Okay, so you guys have to kind of be aware of what you're doing when you do that. Over here, for example, all of this area right there is being cut into. See it right there? That triangle? All of this area is being filled. Actually, no, it's the other way around. This area is being filled, I apologize, and this area is being cut into the bank. Okay? So you guys need to understand that as you're doing it. This is an all cut. So this is basically a grader runs through and just cuts a path up the hill. Right? So that's basically coming across, there's the contour line, and I dug it out. And I put it back. And the line, again, if you look at these lines, they're pretty much going perpendicular to the road, including where they are in the radiating part of the turn. Okay? So that's another thing that you guys got to do kind of in the thinking of the whole thing. All right, so let me switch back to I don't know how to switch back, so I guess I'm going to have to stay here. Okay, so another thing that I saw as I walked around is that you need to show the direction of the vineyards. And a lot of you thought, okay, well, I've got to fill the entire area with lines. You guys have gone through at least 2 semesters of sort of graphic training. So I'm going to remind you of something. I'm just going to quickly, I'm going to draw some lines here, okay? So let's just say that I hypothetically, let's say I draw a line from, I'm going to turn my object snaps off. I'm going to take this and I'm going to draw one line. Up that way. And I'm going to offset that line. Let's see, I'm going to offset it by, I'm just going to say 15 feet. Take that line and set it over there. And then I'm going to subdivide this direction. So I'll draw another line from, I don't know, somewhere in here over to here. And again, offset. Right? So right there, I've kind of designated 4 vineyards, right? I still would have to put in my my roads along the edges because I got to be able to get to all of the edges. But that's not the point I'm trying to show you right now. The point that I'm trying to show you right now is that you don't need to draw lines all the way across this whole thing. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to redraw this vineyard right here. And just so it's not sitting over the contours, I'm going to all right, hold on. So there's that vineyard that I did up there, right? That sort of polygonal shaped vineyard. So all you would have had to have done is to fill in a portion of the corner and a portion of the corner, and I would be able to tell which direction the lines are running. So, for example, if I'm going to do this in AutoCAD. You guys are doing this by hand. In AutoCAD, it would be very easy because you could just hatch fill the whole thing. But if you're doing it by hand, a common way of doing this is to do something like this. I can't seem to type today. How far apart? We say 10 feet. All right, so let's say that I'm going straight up and downhill. So something like that would have been sufficient if you're hand grafting for me to know which direction the vineyards are going. Okay? Just fill in the 2 corners or the 4 corners. You don't have to draw the lines all the way across. Okay? All right? So continuing on, next thing. All of you guys were supposed to show a pad for a hypothetical winery, and I think we said it was going to be 100 feet by 100 feet, and how you were going to adjust the topography for that pad. And then you were also supposed to do the same thing for a parking area adjacent to it. Okay? So those are all things that as I walked around were stuff that I wanted to see for today, but I didn't see in everybody's scheme. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do right now is I'm going to ask you guys to take and approach it from that perspective. So I'm going to give you the sort of step-by-step scenario of how to approach this. So the first thing that I would suggest is that you take the entire site and subdivide it into 4 vineyards. All right. Then after you do that, start to think about where the building should sit in relationship to those 4 subdivisions. All right. I think what I will do is I'm going to print out some 8.5 by 11s of the site, and I'm going to kind of let you guys do it in diagrammatic form. That way you're not working on a big drawing. Okay. So, and we'll run enough copies to where you guys can do 3 different schemes each way. So one way is to let the layout of the vineyards influence where the building is going, right? And I can't let this get too long, so I'm going to stop it and start a new one. So